Hello, Nigeria. Thanks for joining us on Newsline. I am Elizabeth Omori. I'm sitting in this week for your regular host, Jennifer Igwe. Fertility has remained a challenge for many would-be parents despite options like surrogacy. Some couples still prefer to patronize the black market. Wondering what that means? Well, I'm talking about the baby factory and crypto pregnancy. As it turns out, there are reasons for this backdoor practice. I'm sure you wouldn't want to miss the reasons behind this decision. Well, we will tell you all in a bit. Last week, the news of embalmed bodies in a building in Ekenwa area of Benin City, Edo State, broke the internet. We have been following this development, and you're sure would want to have an update. We'll have you covered. And to the question of the week, when last did you make a positive impact in your small corner? How far have you gone in your drive for impact of volunteerism? This report should speak to the spirit of patriotism and giving back to society. Tonight, our social diary is sizzling, and we can't wait to serve you the stories hot. I will be back after the news with one of our finest newscasters, Najatu Tijani. Over to you, Najatu.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for the compliment. Welcome to the new segment. I'm Najatu Tijani. INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, has reacted to an online publication saying the commission has jettisoned the electronic transmission of results and reverted to the manual process. A statement by the National Commissioner for Information, INEC, Festus Okoye, says this is not correct and should be disregarded. For clarity, the procedure for result transmission remains the same as seen in recent governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun State. There will be no change in all future elections, including the 2023 general election, the statement adds. INEC reassures Nigerians that the electronic transmission of results has come to stay. Meanwhile, the Joint Action Committee, JAC, of the Non-Academic Staff Union of Education and Associated Institutions, NASU, and Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, has announced the suspension of its ongoing strike effective Wednesday, 24 August 2022. This follows the conclusion of negotiations between the JAC and the federal government team led by the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu. A statement by JAC spokesperson Peters Adeyemi states that the 2 months is to allow government to implement the agreements reached, including the decision of government to set aside the sum of 50 billion naira for the payment of earned academic and earned allowances, a cogent decision on the university peculiar personnel payroll system, release of white paper on the university visitation panel, and funding of universities. On the salary payment system, the minister says the alternative payment systems provided by ASU and the JAC of NASU and SANU has done well, adding that the federal government is awaiting reports of the technical committee it set up before taking action on the matter. The statement adds. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has inaugurated the Nigeria Electricity Liability Management Company's board. The inauguration of a board for the company, as the Vice President explains, will enhance ongoing efforts at resolving liabilities relating to tariff shortfalls for distribution companies, among other challenges plaguing Nigeria's power sector. The Vice President told members of the board that they are expected to make conscious and deliberate efforts to develop appropriate strategies to facilitate the successful conclusion of the outstanding pre-privatization issues of the defunct Power Holding Company of Nigeria, PHCN, and ensure an effective implementation of NEMCO's additional mandate to resolve the tariff shortfall problems of the electricity distribution companies. The board is also required to take appropriate steps to ensure that the interests of various segments of the Nigerian society, particularly ordinary citizens, are protected in the implementation of NEMCO's mandates. Members of the board are Minister of Finance and Budget, Zainab Ahmed as chairperson. In a related development, the Bureau of Public Enterprises Director General Alex Oko says the takeover of 4 electricity distribution companies, DISCOs in Kaduna, Kano, Ibadan and Port Harcourt have been concluded successfully, while the challenge in the takeover of the Benin DISCO is being addressed. And to security now, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, says the military is winning the battle against banditry, kidnapping and terrorism in the country, as most bandit camps in thick forests have been completely destroyed. Speaking during Exercise Camp Highland, the Army Chief re-emphasized that soldiers will not relent until all terrorists are flushed from their hideouts. Umar Ajingi reports.
Thick inside the forest in Kechia, the graduating cadets spend days receiving practical military training to confront the enemies in a real-world situation. Armed with military arsenal to demonstrate dexterity in the discharge of their profession. It is a military tradition signifying the end of the training of cadets expected to pass out soon. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, said dealing decisively with criminal elements remains top priority of the Nigerian Army.
All of us who have gathered here are proud of you and will be waiting to see what you will deliver, what you will bring to the table. I have no doubt that you can deliver and you will. For the rest of this criminal that will still be around before you pass out, if there are even some left, you will conclude it. You hear? Yeah. And for the criminal and bandits, we'll talk to you in the language you understand.
The Chief of Army Staff assured Nigerians of their determination to end insecurity in the country. In Kaduna, Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, following a tip-off that bandits invaded Tiggi village in Augi local government area of Kebbi State, the police tactical teams in synergy with the Nigerian army and local vigilante have swung into action and neutralized one suspected bandit, recovering one AK-47 rifle in the process. While appealing to residents to support the police and other security agencies, the Commissioner of Police in Kebbi State, CP Ahmed Magaji Kontagora, has also reiterated the command's readiness and determination to secure the state and border communities against criminals and terrorists. More than 2.3 million tablets of illicit pharmaceutical opioids and other psychoactive substances tagged for distribution in 7 northern states have been intercepted by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, in a series of operations in the past week. These substances include capsules of tramadol, pregabalin, Hypnox, diazepam, Exol 5 and 7, 353 bottles of a new psychoactive substance locally called Akuskora. 4 suspects in connection with the organized crime are now in NDLEA custody. A suspected major importer of loud variant of cannabis from the United States, an Italy-bound passenger, and a 63-year-old who ships illicit substances to Dubai, United Arab Emirates, are now in custody of the NDLEA at the Lagos airport for their alleged involvement in drug trade. Meanwhile, the NDLEA says more than 1,171.75 kilograms of cannabis and 29 liters of codeine syrup have been recovered from Akala Mushin area of Lagos State, with 139 bags of 176 compressed blocks of cannabis recovered in Ogun State. President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates former Vice Chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University, Professor Wale Omole, on his 80th birthday, acknowledging his historic role in providing visionary leadership for the university and improving Nigeria's educational system. President Buhari believes Professor Omole's return to Nigeria after years of extensive studies and research, culminating in a doctorate degree in nutritional biochemistry in 1973, demonstrates his love for country and citizens. The president notes the worthy contributions of the scholar to national discourse, especially in his position as chairman of the editorial board of the Guardian newspapers for many years, providing a worthy perspective based on exposure, network and relevance in the dynamic global world. President Buhari extols the former Vice-Chancellor for his diligence and consistency in advocating stronger educational institutions. 14 lives have been lost, while more than 200 people have sustained various degrees of injury, with 3,600 houses submerged as a result of flood recorded across Yobe State. Abubakar Shuaibu reports.
The recent flood disaster has remained a major threat to some communities in 10 out of the 17 local government areas of Yobe State. Hundreds of houses and property worth millions of naira were destroyed as people in the affected communities are vacating to safer areas.
To my Malabuni, our leader, our governor, to come and assist us.
Executive Secretary, Yobe State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Mohammed Goja, says more palliatives are on pipeline to alleviate suffering of the victims.
Discharge. From the government side, we ensure we prioritize evacuation first, and also victims that were sustained injuries treated and discharged free from hospitals, government-owned hospitals. And then later we ensure that people that are at most risk were evacuated to safer locations and provide them with shelter, temporary shelters, and basic commodities.
Yobe State is among the 17 states predicted by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency to experience excessive rainfall in the month. Abubakar Shuaibu, NTA News.
Now for some good news. The Ministry of Agriculture has reviewed the country's policy on agricultural seeds to boost farmer output in a document developed with support from the United States Agency for International Development. Musa Aliu reports.
The National Seed Policy document has been a guide for the production, distribution, marketing, and importation of agricultural seeds in Nigeria. The policy was last reviewed in 2015, following the new policy and programs introduced by the present administration. The document is undergoing another review under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture.
The successful effort of government towards the attainment of national food security and other goals of agricultural development depends on the performance of the seed industry that set the limit of yield response of other farm inputs.
The Director General, National Agricultural Seed Council, said the reviewed seed policy has removed the ambiguous areas and introduced innovations that optimize the operations of regulatory agency.
Consequently, with the enactment of the National Agricultural Seed Council Act number 21 of 2019, the Council has introduced some innovations and technologies, which include the seed codex, the third-party certification, the seed tracker.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture has also developed the National Agricultural Technology and Innovation Plan. The plan adopts a mixed short-term and medium-term multi-stakeholder approach towards ensuring resilience, recovery, and growth. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
Still on recovery and growth, the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited, one of the companies undertaking the construction of roads under the Road Infrastructure Development and Refurbishment Investment Tax Credit Scheme, has received its tax credit certificate from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, for the construction of the Bonibodo Road in Rivers State. The certificate was received by the company's Deputy Managing Director, Mr. Olalekan Ogunleye, who represented the CEO NLNG at the handover ceremony at the FIRS headquarters, Abuja. The executive chairman, FIRS, Mohammed Nami, who commended the NLNG for its increased investment in Nigeria, says the service looks forward to completing the Train 7 project. The CEO also applauds the FIRS for being at the forefront of economic progress the country is experiencing. In continuation of the drive to develop an internationally competitive economy, the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board has handed over a vocational hub to the University of Ibadan. Ife Olua Omosule was there and now reports.
The multi-million naira vocational hub, which is equipped with tools that will focus on mechanical, electrical, welding and fabrication, is geared towards empowering the youth to contribute to the development of the oil and gas sector, as well as reducing the country's reliability on foreign mechanical products.
The quality of education in universities these days, you get the degree, you can't get jobs outside. Now this would address that gap, which is to give you skills that you can use in the real world.
Thanking Senator Teslim Folarin, for facilitating this edifice. I know that this edifice is going to enhance not only